Okay guys, welcome to the 2023 Dodge Durango Hellcat, and this thing is a dying beast, unfortunately, as it is in its last year of production, as well as this Hellcat engine. But this thing's just absolutely insane. I've had it for the past week. I've absolutely enjoyed every moment that I've had it so far, and let's go take it on a drive. But before we take it on a drive, I would definitely recommend go check out my full review to see all the in-depth details there. But just want to take you guys on a quick tour of the exterior. It's loud out here right now. I got the fan on. Quickly take a look at that engine though. What a monster of an engine. Love that beast. 6.2 liter supercharged HEMI V8. I think this thing looks absolutely great. We have it here in Octane Red. It's a really deep, actually metallic color. Looks fantastic in the sunlight. What a beast. Just massive Hellcat badge on the side. We've got Pirelli P0 rubber, Brembo calipers, huge brake rotors as well. Crazy loud exhaust. This thing is a monster, and you can actually put people in here, and you can tow, which is impressive. Check out the rear seats. My backpack and stuff back here. Really nice leather. You got the rear seats back there as well. They're folded down right now. And yes, I can fit in them, which is pretty cool. Lots of space. Cool interior. Crazy engine. Supercharged badge here. Let's go take this thing on a drive, guys. And what's the way to start a drive than putting it into launch control? Because I think that's what this thing is all about. And we have our timing gauges right here. So if we go to performance pages, gauges, and timers down here. Best was 3.7. Last we did 3.1. We're in sport mode. Let's do it, guys. Lost traction there. What was that one? 3.9. Okay, not bad. Anyways, quick introduction to this video, guys. This thing's a freaking riot. It is an absolute blast to drive around, to hoon around. These timers go much crazier, but you can pop it into a few different drive modes as well. You got sport, auto, snow, tow, even a fully custom mode, which I have loved playing around with, but the manual mode as well. This thing is absolutely a beast to actually move around, and it just sounds incredible. They got the supercharger whine up front, the screaming exhaust note out back. Love the steering wheel. We got paddle shifters over here, which generally pretty responsive, but this is at an 8-speed. Thing is really fun to drive around, and you have all this customizability with this different settings in here, from your transmission settings, paddle shifters, stability control, suspension as adaptive dampers, steering, and we'll get into how it kind of drives a little bit. And but it really actually is quite fantastic to drive around. Love this display with all your gauges to see all the temperatures of everything, battery voltage. And you can even display some of this information up in this center unit right here, which is pretty cool. This badge glows up at night. There's a lot of fun things going on here with this Durango Hellcat, and it's just a riot to drive around. Yeah, I've definitely been having a blast with this thing over the past week. Of course, we have, like I said, ZF 8-speed automatic gearbox, 6.2 liter supercharged HEMI V8 under the hood. We got 710 horsepower going to all four wheels. Uconnect 5 infotainment system is pretty easy to use. We have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is fantastic. Easy stuff in here. It's pretty nice. It feels modern. They did refresh the interior. We've got these really nice big seats. They almost feel like a couch, but there is support in there, especially the side bolsters, but they're definitely designed for everyone to kind of be able to use it as well, which I think is fantastic. Let's go back to our drive modes page, because I like to see that information in there. They're in manual mode as well, so let's kick it off. And the acceleration is always oh my god. Oh, this thing's a riot. But yeah, I mean, I've been driving this thing for the past week, and it's genuinely been one of the most fun experiences that you can just continually have all the time, because it's just constantly insane no matter what mode you're in. That was custom mode, you have auto mode. It's just so much fun. Now, the one downside that I will say from driving this over the past week is the fuel economy is crap. It's absolutely terrible, but you know, you're gonna expect that with a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 under the hood. I'm just trying to find the fuel economy gauge right here. 8.9 miles to the gallon. Yeah, that's been over the past week. I have been driving it a little bit aggressively, but even if you are trying to like baby it, it's still not going to be doing the best fuel economy on the planet. And it has a huge gas tank. I think it's around 26 gallons. So if you're gonna, and it has to be premium fuel, so filling this thing up is definitely going to be costly. Of course, you're getting a gas guzzler tax if you're buying this, but when you are buying this, who is caring about that stuff that much? Because you know what you're getting into with this thing, and it's for the experience, it's for the thrill, it's for that sound, and just the multi-use usability of this thing is nuts. You can tow like 8,700 pounds with this thing. That never gets old. You can fit your passengers in here, get haul stuff in the back with all the cargo space if you need to, if you don't want to have all the passengers. It's just such a versatile vehicle. And again, I've said this a few times, this interior upgrade really has, I think, helped it a little bit. Really nice stitching and like materials in here. You have ventilated and heated seats. You know, this gauge is a little bit old. Some of the buttons are definitely older. There's no heads-up display or anything like that, but I think they put their money where it was going to be worth kind of spending in this car, and you can definitely tell that a little bit in here. Now, talking about the chassis and dynamics of this thing is another question, because believe it or not, it's actually really good. Now, this is a huge vehicle. It's 200 inches long, and on top of it being 200 inches long, it also weighs a lot. It's like over 5,500 pounds. So you have to like, oh wow, big SUV, lots of power, it's a little heavy. Is it gonna handle well? And surprisingly, it does. I've heard the Jeep Trackhawk doesn't handle really that well. It's a little bit floaty, but Dodge has, and that's the SRT team, have actually redone the whole suspension system. They have these adaptive dampers. They've kind of added some different rebound damping and stuff to improve the stability and body control and feel of this thing, and it is actually really good. Even the steering, actually, there's not like a crazy amount of feel, but these gigantic tires, they actually, you can kind of feel the road a little bit, and the body feels taut actually and pretty well controlled. Even going through around like corners at higher speeds, you feel a little bit of lean, but if you feel confident, and you can do that. You can do that as well. Brakes are impressive, which have to be for this amount of power. A Tesla can take notes there, which I mean they kind of have now, but originally they didn't. Oh, this thing's fun. Of course, fun can come at danger and cost, and definitely with this amount of power and just insanity, thankfully you have all-wheel drive, but you still got to be careful what you're doing around town, especially if you're on highways and stuff. You don't want to be doing anything stupid. You gotta be cautious of your environment and your surroundings at all times, but you do have a nice open road. You can definitely have fun with this insane engine. And there's some really cool stuff actually you can find within this infotainment system. You kind of control like your shift lights if you want, and different RPM gauges that each gear will maximize. It's just a lot of cool stuff in here. I'm happy they included that in this SRT pages area. We're operating in sport mode right now, and like I said, each mode is customizable, but track mode is the kind of crazy one. Turns off traction control, and actually the shifts are very aggressive, and you can definitely notice the change in the dampers as well. It stiffens up significantly versus the street mode. It feels very taut. Exhaust is loud. And you can definitely notice that everything's on edge, like really in the track mode. Those snarls on the upshift out there are just insane. And again, now we have the tighter damping setting. You can feel how controlled the body is. Wow, it really is honestly impressive. It's definitely not a vehicle for like any kind of track or any kind of that setting, even to this level, but to be able to handle this weight and do it in such a comfortable way, like it still is able to soak out bumps and keep this body controlled really well without feeling it over stiff like a lot of the German SUVs end up feeling like. So big kudos to Dodge actually on that. It honestly reminds me of Maserati's Skyhook adaptive damper situation. I'm sure there's might be a little bit of similarity there. It's not like the Ghibli and the Levante just through parts sharing, but I'd be curious to see that, because I've driven both vehicles and I've noticed a little bit of similarity in that blend between comfort, body control, and just the ability to kind of keep the car planted around tight corners. And then when you want to just be cruising around, when you still can, of course, just pop it into 8th gear and you're out about on your way. And you can just see the range always just drops after I drive it a little bit. It's horrifying. We have like a half tank now. It's 110 miles. So I don't know if this is the best road trip vehicle just in terms of the poor fuel economy and the constant urge to floor it all the time, but oh, there also is a kickdown mode. So if you hold this left paddle down, it'll go down to the lowest available gear and give you all those revs that you need. Check that out around this. Oh wow, that's impressive. And I have to say, these tires, these Pirelli P0s are really good at the grip. They're very sticky, very aggressive, kind of summer tire. Definitely not for any kind of like all-weather conditions. I would not consider those for that. But crazy amount of grip you're able to get with this thing. I wish I had the G meter, because of course there's a G meter in this car, so you can kind of get an idea of the G forces on this thing. I believe it can pull like 0.8 G, if I remember seeing as a statistic somewhere, which is impressive. Max, look at that, max peak on the right, 0.93, that's impressive. So this thing definitely has some serious grip and capabilities with it. I'm gonna shut up for you guys so you can just listen to this thing on the roads, because it just sounds so good. What a machine. And you know, you still have radar cruise control too, so you can just turn it on right here, adaptive cruise control ready, set your speed, and you know, you're off cruising like you normally do. It doesn't have any kind of like advanced systems like steering assist or anything, so it's pretty basic in that aspect. You do have like a lane departure like warning system, which I have off because it's kind of annoying. So oh, that sound is intoxicating. And you know, when I was driving this for the first time early last week, in my head was like, oh, this thing's gonna be all engine and everything else is gonna kind of fall apart. But over my week in driving this, that's what's actually been changed in my mind. It's not all engine. Like I said, it steers pretty well, actually. It handles itself pretty well. I actually quite like this interior. It's not the fanciest thing, and short, around almost $100,000. I might expect more luxury and stuff, but just as a general cohesive package, it's just so much fun and so engaging that I've actually been really happy with it over the week. And if anything, I've kind of learned to see that this thing is more than just an engine. It's actually a really cool all-around vehicle. Vantage Roadster right there, really nice. Aston Martin's doing some good stuff there. But yeah, this thing's a monster, guys. Let's go on the highway right now. Okay guys, let me know what 3-row SUV with a big V8 is this loud and exciting. There's a lot of big 3.0 V8 SUVs in the market, shockingly, which a lot of people didn't really realize. But once you look, there are a lot, but there is nothing like the Durango Hellcat. That engine is just insane. And obviously, yeah, you can get it in the Ram TRX, you can get it in the Trackhawk from Jeep, you can get it in the Charger and Challenger, all really until the end of this year. But nothing else really comes close to just this general experience. And a lot of people, I've seen some kind of motoring journalists complain when they're in this car that, oh, it's a little loud, you hear the V8 all the time, you hear that supercharger, and you know, it's not really pleasing. But that's the whole point of the car. So I don't even consider those downsides. I want to hear that supercharger, I want to hear the exhaust, and I want to hear that V8 rumble, and you will always get that in that car no matter what mode you're in, which is really cool. And of course it only gets louder and more insane as you go in the more aggressive settings. We're cruising right now on the highway, 75. You're only using like 75 horsepower to it. It's cool, you have that little gauge. 8th gear. What more can you want? And then you could just do this. It's insane. It's really nuts. It is really nuts. Anyways, guys, thank you once again for joining me on this video and on Allcarnews channel. Stay tuned for, as always, for more stuff coming soon. Cheers.